With Own Every Word, you can own every word in the metaverse.
Hammy Ground.
Dunkles. Oppo Time Snack.
And every word is a one of one. And do we have a roadmap and utility? You bet your ass. Have you read it all yet? Okay. Own Every Word. It's another NFT project.
Hey everybody, welcome to Own Every Word, the game show, where the word heard submits answers to fill-in-the-blank statements, and our panel debates which is the best answer so that the person that submitted can earn incredible NFT prizes. I'm your host, Matt Harris, and I'm here with a terrific group of panelists who will each write down which word they think is the best fit, argue their point vehemently, and from the words they choose, they'll come to a consensus willingly or unwillingly. We're here every Wednesday, so please join us to see who in the word heard has submitted the answers that our panelists feel are the most worthy. And with that, let's meet our panel. Oh, a wonderful slew of faces that we have here. Our first guest is the host of Knowing Is Half the Podcast and the Who Would Win show. He also voices over 1,000 Own Every Word cards, so you've probably heard his voice already, and he's the force behind the hashtag Share Your Raise movement. Finally, he also infamously gagged into a napkin during the intro of an episode of Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, the one, and thankfully only, Stakenas, everybody.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing out there? I'm that person that he's talking about. I'm so excited, I'm bumping my platform to shake my camera.
Boom. Ray, I'm so glad to have you here. And this is a show about words, and you voiced a lot of words for this project. Do you have a favorite word that you have voiced?
Do I have a favorite word that I have voiced? You know, I'd have to check my personal collection of all of the words that I've ever done. I'll be honest, I do have a favorite word that I've done, but at the same time, it hasn't actually been released yet. It's in an unreleased drop, so I can't say it live on the show. Hit me later, and then I will let you know. But it's coming up, and you're going to want it, because if you don't get it, I'm going to get it, and then I'm going to lord it over all of you.
Wow. Ray just hit us with an underground word tease. Okay, so look out for that, everybody. It's dropping this summer. Thank you very much, Mr. Stakenas. And our next panelist just finished a run of his one-man show, Mr. Unioshi, at the Soho Playhouse in NYC. He's also a very talented musician and songwriter. Please welcome J. Elijah Cho.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Hello, word heard. I love that phrase, word heard.
Right?
I'm very excited.
It not only is kind of a cutesy phrase, but it also puts me in the mind of like old school funk and hip hop. It's like word and heard sliced together. But that's just my upbringing.
Word heard.
Jonathan, if it's okay if I call you Jonathan.
Oh, please, yes.
You just finished up a one-man show in NYC, which is it's a fantastic achievement. With all of that, knowing the work that goes into that, what is one word, if you had to give one word of advice for someone who is preparing for a one-person show? What's one word you would give them?
One word that I would give them would be fun. Like have fun. That's two words. I'm like, what is the word that means have fun? Enjoy. Yeah, enjoy. That's the word. Enjoy. That's a word.
I like it. I like it. I love it. And I think that we're going to do a lot of that tonight. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for being here. And our final panelist tonight only wanted to be introduced as a TV writer, but I'm going to go a step further and say that she's not only one of the most talented people working in TV today, she's one of the kindest. Please welcome the magnanimous Gina Ippolito, everybody. Gina.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for having me. I didn't realize I needed to write more, but I'm excited to be here. And my only goal is to break Ray emotionally, spiritually. Jonathan is too nice, but if you get caught in the crossfire, I apologize.
Yes,
but I will be.
Gina Ippolito, wait a minute. We are both on Knowing Is Half the Podcast together, but only I put it in my bio. Should I take offense? Probably.
You know, I feel like you threw everything in the kitchen sink in your bio. I was more discerning. So
Yeah, because they're going to be impressed by you naturally. I got to work for it.
See, what I like is how this show is going to be all about coming to a consensus, and I like how we're already headed that way.
Oh boy.
Especially when we all are agreeing to take down Ray. So Gina, you make your living writing words. So is there a word that you tend to use a lot when writing?
ooh, that's a good question. You know what? I need to work. It's just a word I like, and I need to work it into more scripts. But peppermint is a
Oh,
really good word.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I've written it into any scripts. If I haven't, it's gonna start being all peppermint. Hire me to write the peppermint patty story.
Exactly. We need that. We need that prequel. Hugely. All right. Well, with that said, everybody, fantastic guests are here. Let's get to the game. So during each month on Own Every Word, the game show, we build our questions around a theme. And this time it's classy celebrations. So each fill in the blank is based around that theme. Panelists, illustrious judges of words that you are you ready?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I feel extremely ready right now.
That's
thankfully.
exactly what I want to know. And round one has begun. Here is the fill in the blank prompt. I spent so much money on weddings this year, I had to sell my blank. Now let's see what the word heard has submitted. I spent so much money on weddings this year, I had to sell my fat cat. I had to sell my election. I had to sell my cubs. I had to sell my hippopotamus. I had to sell my window. I had to sell my green beans. I had to sell my fingernails. I had to sell my villa. I had to sell my morality. I had to sell my kin. So, panelists, this is your selection. A lot of good stuff to go from here. Please write down the answer that first jumped out at you. Yeah,
I really like here that he spent this person. It's he because I'm a he. But they spent so much on weddings, plural. Now, normally you would spend money on a wedding if you're in the wedding. And now I'm questioning how many times did this guy get married?
That's
First of all, Ray just outed himself as someone who does not bring a gift to weddings. Because if he's only spending money if he's in the wedding, I think that's not how weddings
it
work,
could be
Ray.
it could be a very traditional person also who just has a lot of daughters, and there it goes. He's got the father of the bride bill.
Okay, fair.
While we are contemplating that, it looks like you all have an answer. So
I do have an answer.
I am going to go from the top down and see what jumped out at you. Mr. Ray Stakenas, let's start out with what jumped out at you and why.
You know, there's a word that will always jump out at me. If ever it's on the page, it's to what Gina Ippolito is to peppermint, I will always be to hippopotamus. You can't put a hippopotamus in front of me and think that I'm not immediately going to pick it. That's a joy.
Love that. Hard to argue with that. Jonathan, what about you? What jumped out at you here?
I had to sell my window.
Window. Okay.
Just because it kind of sent me on a little crisis, because how does one sell a window? Do you put the wall back where the window once was? It's just that's why I picked window, because it broke my mind.
Jonathan likes pain.
Oh, hello.
Oh boy.
Oh man, I could see right through that one. So, Gina, on to you. Which one did you pick and why?
Yeah, you know what? I had to squish it in a little at the end, but I'm going with fingernails.
Okay.
Because any body part is going to be the funniest thing to sell. It's what you're most attached to. And is it just it doesn't say clippings, by the way, it says whole fingernails. So that to me is painful and hilarious, and I love it.
Right.
What's wild about this whole thing is that I really thought one of you two was going to pick morality, and then I was just going to agree with you. But now that's completely out the window. My game strategy has failed.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
with that, now we have 3 separate answers, 3 compelling arguments as far as I'm concerned. So here is what's going to happen. The 3 of you are going to write down your final answer. Were you swayed? Did someone say something that put you in a state of mind that goes, yeah, that? And a consensus will be reached while you are writing down your final answer. Let's go over to Sam
Wow.
Proof and see what the word heard
Okay,
is
final
talking about
answer.
right now. Sam, how they doing?
All right. Starting off, Irish Lunatic says, Soul! Where is Soul? Obviously, we don't do the obvious things here. J.K. Palm says, this is obviously Kin. Clearly.
Obviously.
Just playing
okay,
off
yeah.
of what I said, obviously. Yo-Yo Johnson, cellular morality. So they agreeing here. Ew, that's low. And the winner.
I mean, I
clearly,
agree with you.
Obviously,
Just none of
right?
us
Yeah.
picked it.
Right. Sam Kimbrell says, clearly it's green beans. Nobody wants to give those up. My 8-year-old, now 9-year-old, would beg to differ.
Someone who didn't have young kids, Sam.
You sell them quick.
Yeah. Spin to Turtle says, well, hippos can be notoriously expensive animals next to wives. This got weird. It got real weird fast.
Wow.
T. Richardson, sell your kin so I can win. And that, I mean, it rhymes, so it must be true. Finally, Sam Kimbrell chimes in. Yeah, sell your kin so I can win. I mean, that's just straight out of the GOP. Anyway, Sam Kimbrell says, clearly you've never had a fingernail salad. I'm going to go vomit, and you guys see if you can hold it together.
All right. So we've heard from the word heard. Now let's hear from our illustrious panelists and see where they came to with their final answers. Ray, I'm starting back with you. Were you swayed? What do you have down there?
I will say I was swayed by one of the arguments. Jonathan, I do have to say that your crisis of faith in the moment really, like, how does one sell just a window? And is it the pain? Is it all the structure around the window? I mean, look, you've really got me thinking on this one, and that doesn't happen very often. So I have to give you credit and go with your choice, window. I've been swayed.
Wow, Jonathan, I'm going to tell you right now, Ray Stakenas is not a man who is easily swayed. So you already have received a huge win for the evening. What about you? Did you stick with your guns? Did you change it up?
I stuck with it because I had another question. I only have one window.
Yeah.
Like I had to sell my window, not windows. So
How
it's
big is this window?
It's got a great view. Great view. Maybe it's the could be the only
window.
Exactly. Maybe it's a smart window. Who knows? And now we move on to Gina. Now you've heard things, but you already wrote something down. What do you have down there?
I'm sticking with fingernails.
Wow.
You fixed it. You fixed your own writing.
Yeah, I fixed it. And I drew some fingernails because also if you're going to weddings and you show up with no fingernails and you just got some bloody hands, that's hysterical. You're toasting to imagine someone toasting to the couple as there's blood dripping down their champagne glass. Come on.
Here's the thing. It is true. Gina, you are a very nice person. However, now I'm getting the sense that you think that like the Saw is hilarious as a movie, and I'm here for it, is what I'm saying. So now here's what we have. We have 2 people who agree, 1 person who doesn't. Let's come to a consensus. I'm putting 60 seconds on the clock. Convince each other. I'm not even going to tell you how to speak, and go.
Okay, just agree with me.
Oh, wow. I mean, the fingernail salad did do also something to me.
It was pretty gross, but at the same time, like I say, I haven't had a good thought in at least 4 or 5 years. And so the idea of trying to process what selling a singular window to pay for all of these weddings that you've attended, that apparently if you're a guest, you're supposed to give a gift. What is this about? This is new to me. Oh
my God. No, but here's the thing. It's set up so that you're losing something precious. I spent so much, but I'm going to do it in an old comedian voice. I spent so much money on weddings this year. I even had to sell my blank. And like, if you sell a window, you just get a new window. You sell your fingernails. Those are taking a good 8 months to grow back in.
I don't think you get another window. I feel like if you sell the window, you sell
final 10 seconds.
The view. You sell the opportunity to look at things.
So
Gina, famously, windows also do not grow back in.
And we are at 60 seconds.
Oh no.
Here we go. I know we can do this. I know we can come to a consensus. So where are we now? Are we in the fingernail camp? Because it looks like those are what's two coming down. Are we in the window camp?
Oh.
Panelists, what say you?
It has to be unanimous.
Has to be a 100% consensus. We are not having it any other way. Not today on Own Every Word.
I think we can get Gina Ippolito behind windows now so she can lord it over us for the next 9 rounds and really make us feel bad.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm Italian, so if I'm agreeing on window now, that means that someday I will come to you for a favor.
Okay. I think I'm willing to take that. Yeah, I will. Please. I will give you a favor.
All right. I'll make it unanimous on the assumption that now you both owe me.
Oh,
whoa.
Okay.
On this day of my daughter's wedding.
Yes. We have come
so many weddings.
Full circle on this. This was a barn burner. Gina Ippolito has cinched the consensus with a caveat, with a big time marker that's laid down. And window is our winner. Congratulations to Boogie. Congratulations to you, Boogie Nights. It's all right. You will be receiving an official, unofficial Own Every Word NFT. So please look for that very, very soon. And now we are on to round 2, everybody.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh boy.
We are already heated up, ready to go. So here is our next fill in the blank. Round 2. Kim Kardashian was criticized for wearing Marilyn Monroe's blank dress to the Met Gala. Let's see what the word herd has submitted. I cannot wait. Kim Kardashian was criticized for wearing Marilyn Monroe's unloose dress to the Met Gala. She was criticized for wearing Marilyn Monroe's evocative dress to the Met Gala. Marilyn Monroe's sweaty dress to the Met Gala. Marilyn Monroe's constricting dress to the Met Gala. Marilyn Monroe's infamous dress to the Met Gala. Marilyn Monroe's Easter dress to the Met Gala. Marilyn Monroe's classic dress to the Met Gala. Marilyn Monroe's dumpster fire dress to the Met Gala. And finally, Marilyn Monroe's tickle dress to the Met Gala. All over the board with this one. They're coming at you with abstract, straight on, interesting takes. Many of them are opening up way more questions in my head than they are answering, but I'm seeing eyes up. I'm seeing pins down, like the old proctors would say. So, wait, if you need a sec, Jonathan, do not worry about it. Do not worry about it.
I'm good.
All right. So this time I am going to start from. I'll start with Gina. Gina, how about you?
Ooh, yeah. I'm going with tickle.
Yeah.
Because tickle dress sounds like a terrible discarded Muppet idea. Like, I'm enjoying tickle dress on our adventures today, kids. Mm-hmm. And I love it. And it's seemingly the sort of weirdest one. So yeah, I'm picturing a Muppet that looks like Marilyn Monroe and is named Tickle Dress.
Oh yeah, it would be a liability for sure. And also bring back the Muppet voice again, please, because
yes, everyone better agree with me.
Oh yes, I love. Oh, there it is. There's your hook right there. That's going to get consensus. Okay, Jonathan, I'm going to go. You're back to you. What do you think here?
I went with ulterior posterior.
Okay.
Just because it, but I mean that's 2 words, but it's like fun to say because it rhymes, kind of. Although, like now, ulterior, posterior. Like, can posteriors have motivation? Like ulterior, like it's a sneaky.
The right ones, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a sentient ass, it can.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the other thing: is a sneaky sentient butt.
I mean, we're talking about Kim Kardashian. I believe I've heard that certain body parts are insured that could give it its own citizenship, I'm sure, and maybe it can vote. But ulterior, posterior, I like that. Also makes me think of Muppets. It would be a very interesting Sesame Street song. But race the cane, ulterior, posterior. All right, and race the Canis, on to you. What have you picked?
I'm a little bit confused that Gina Ippolito didn't pick this one, given that it's one of her favorite things on the entire planet. But I went with ulterior posterior because, Gina, you had butts right there. butts are your favorite thing in the world. I know this from off-camera conversation. Ulterior, I don't even know what that means, honestly. I just know it means butts, and if you got butts on the menu, I'm buying.
For everyone. Around for
everyone gets a butt.
A round of butts.
I think
round of butts for the bar. I've always wanted to say that.
And Sir Mix-a-Lot makes a comeback. So with that, illustrious panelists, please write down your final answer for this. Were you swayed? Was there something that captured your imagination, shall we say? And while you're doing that, we're going to check in with the wonderful Sam Proof again to see what the word herd is talking about.
Can I just say that I studied to be a mixologist and a bartender, and I would love to take Gina's order and be like, butts up! All right, let's see what we got. Sam Kimbrell says, congrats to the Congrats to the person who has dumpster fire card, the dumpster fire card. Yeah, that's fantastic. Sorry, it's clearly been put out. J.K. Palm says tickle dress because it was both Arthur Miller and Joe DiMaggio's favorite. History lesson for everyone. Moon Raven says, I think the tickle Muppet voice would sound more like a Kennedy. Anyone who's willing to do that, go for it.
I got stuck in the
yes.
I think better yet would be Elmo doing the Kennedys. I can't believe I can't even do an Elmo. I was going to do the I can't believe it wasn't a suicide joke. Anyway, moving on. No, too soon. How did I get another Sam Kimbrell in here? Sweaty Dress is my favorite rapper. Yep. Got a whole music thing queued up here. J.K. Palm says Sentient Ass was my college jam band.
That makes sense.
We sucked. So I guess they sucked ass. But Saul God says Sentient Ass is my new band name. So I guess we're bringing the internet together. We're bringing everyone together. But let's see if we can bring you together on a consensus.
And with that, we are now back to our illustrious judges, the people who make the decisions on the words that get chosen. And with that, Gina, where did you land here? Were you swayed? Did you stick to your guns?
Okay, let me first say that I just realized I'm drinking out of my Fraggle Rock mug.
Down is Fraggle Rock.
It feels like I should have stuck to my guns, but I am really gonna hold on to that favor for later, and I switched to ulterior posterior.
With the badonk in the illustration. Absolutely appreciated. Yes. Jonathan, on to you.
Oh man, I was ready to do the favor, but if you're saving it, then all right, we're good.
Oh, ominous favors lurking as we are still at a consensus race, Stakenas.
You know, there's one thing I too am just waiting for the other shoe to drop, but if she just dropped it right away, there'd be no drama. And that's why I know that my argument for butts, along with the fact that the favor would come too early at this point, it has to be ulterior posterior for the win.
And ulterior posterior is our winner. Well, congratulations to JJ the Beard. JJ the Beard. You and your ulterior posterior will now be receiving some sweet official, unofficial NFT courtesy of your win. Congratulations. It was easily agreed upon.
It's a butt NFT.
It now has to be. It can't not be. And with that, we are on to round 3, everybody. Boy. Look at us. We are just making it happen. Here's your next prompt for round 3. This party is so fancy, there's a robot who blank appetizers. All right, let's see what the word herd submitted. This party is so fancy, there's a robot who scans appetizers. There's a robot who inhumanely farmed appetizers. There's a robot who percolated appetizers. There's a robot who repaired appetizers. There's a robot who jet-propelled appetizers. There's a robot who blackens appetizers. There's a robot who skips appetizers. There's a robot who barricades appetizers. There's a robot who dunk appetizers. And there's a robot who straggled appetizers. You have been given quite the choices here. I'm actually looking. I feel like there's a lot that can really, really fit in here. Not an easy choice this time, at least not for me. I kind of like them all. With that said, I'm going Ralph Cramden already, and we're only on round 3. Jonathan, I'm gonna start with you this time. Right. What have you got? What jumped out at you?
Straggled. I don't know if that's a real word. Also, I just heard Fraggle, so that probably added to it. But I'm also just straggled. I don't know what it means, but I mean that it's like, yeah.
Appreciate
if it's fancy, I don't like. If I have to Google it, I feel like it's fancy, and so like straggle seems fancy to me.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay. So based on the unique and thank you. Own every word. Straggled is to move along slowly, typically in a small irregular group, so as to remain some distance behind the person or people in front. Like, don't straggle behind, or watch out, we got a straggler.
Or like, oh, let's leave those stragglers behind at Disney.
Oh, stragglers.
Or down in Straggled Rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cast your cares away. So straggled is what we're going for from Jonathan. And now let's go to Mr. Ray Stakenas. What do you have?
You know, I've actually been to a few very rich, fancy parties hosted by the insanely rich, and they don't often invite me, so you got to go when it happens. And there's one thing I know about the colossally rich in this country is that they are full of cruelty. That's how they got where they are. So I had to go with inhumanely farmed as the most logical answer here, based on my knowledge of how rich parties with robots go.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's kind of the plot to The Matrix. It was robots inhumanely farming. And we just got to the bottom of really what is the Matrix. So with that, Gina.
God, I hate to say it. Under any circumstances. But I agreed with Ray.
Boom!
And for the same reasons, because rich people are going to pay extra to be cruel. So if you're going to a rich party, they're going to brag to their other rich friends about how something is extra expensive because they did it inhumanely. So I agree with Ray. They love suffering.
Suffering tastes amazing. Apparently it tastes amazing, and it costs a pretty penny. Well, these is very compelling arguments, especially since we have a 2-on-1 consensus, no pressure there. But it is time to write down your final answers, and while you're doing it, oh boy, I cannot wait. Sam Proof, what is the word her saying about all this?
All right, let's see. Yo-Yo Johnson starts it off with, I want to make sure my food is cruelty full. Yeah. Callie Mullally says inhumanely farmed is really the only one that makes any sense. I clearly agree with what
we got a lot of the 1% tuning in tonight.
Yeah, I mean, does that not surprise you?
I mean, of course.
Of course. We have only the cream of the crop here. Stacy says, please scan my apps for razor blades. There you go. Sam Kimbrell, this is what I said, was Skips. Skips feels classy, right? Classy. Yeah, that's a Sam census right there. All right, let's go back and see if you guys can come up with a regular census. What? Seamless transition. And let's DoorDash on over to you, Jonathan. Where now? I mean, it was 2-on-1. Were you swayed, or did you stick?
Well, also the definition being showed helped because it did not make any sense. So inhumanely farmed makes far more sense than straggled.
It does. So Ray, what say you to that?
Well, what I say to that is hearing TV's Gina Ippolito say, I agree with Ray. Can we cut that soundbite so I can make it into a ringtone?
It's already been done.
I'm just not used to it. But that being said, why would I go away from that? Inhumanely farmed. I agree with that writer who said it's the only correct answer.
All right. And so TV's own Gina Ippolito, what do you have to say here?
If Ray ever brings this up again, I'm gonna call it fake news. It's a deep fake. It was not me. He put my face on a Tom Cruise thing on the internet. But but I stuck with it.
Boom! And we have a consensus, quickest consensus that we have come to tonight, because really, how can you argue with inhumanely farmed? Guess what?
Yeah.
Congratulations again to JJ the Beard.
You.
Killing it.
My man. 2. 1.
And now this
and
has
then
to be
2.
a cruelty NFT. I think that's how it works.
Straight up hit him with the
Inflicting a lot of
1-2
suffering.
punch. Congratulations. Another NFT is coming your way. And we are moving on to round 4. Now, here's something special. Round 4 is the twofer round. That's where only people with 2 cards can submit. So, panelists, just to remind you, that means that each fill in the blank is going to come with 2 blanks that have been filled in. A pair of words is what you'll be choosing. And with that, let's see our round 4 prompt. The host must have spent a fortune on the sculpture of blank made out of blank. Let's see what the word heard submitted. The host must have spent a fortune on the sculpture of lioness made out of wildebeest. The host must have spent a fortune on the sculpture of hippopotamus made out of refreshant. A fortune on the sculpture of roan made out of carrot. The sculpture of daggers made out of mites. The sculpture of apple pie made out of fingernails. The sculpture of Fat Tuesday made out of drink. The sculpture of donkey made out of cotton candy. The sculpture of mittens made out of olive. The sculpture of golfers made out of oars. The sculpture of worm made out of, and I wonder if I'm going to say this right, Eosin or Eostin? Tomato, tomato. I'm sure the word heard will correct me. Just to remind you also, each word does come as a pair. So whichever word it was paired with right next to it, that is the one. We cannot mix and match words. They were submitted as a pair. All right. I'm seeing eyes up. I'm seeing Hearts of Fire, which is a great song, by the way, Rocky IV. And this time, let's see, which way do I want to go? You know what? For funsies, Gina, let's start with you again.
Okay, I almost doubled down on fingernails, but it didn't work out for me last time. So instead, I went with donkey cotton candy.
Okay.
And you know what? The fact that it's not a donkey, the fact that it's just donkey makes me think of it's Donkey from Shrek.
My thoughts exactly.
Made out of cotton candy. And as soon as it rains, there's going to be a lot of children crying that the Shrek donkey is horribly melting before their eyes. So I have to say yes to children crying.
Done and done. Cannot argue with that. So this time, Ray, I'm going to jump to you.
Okay. Now, this is the strangest. This is one of the wildest questions we've ever had because my brain immediately goes to cruelty again. But then, weirdly enough, my brain also went straight to Shrek.
Whoa.
I don't understand.
Whoa.
You can't just put donkey singular without me, donkey. That's all I can think about. And then I just want to say it over and over again. Donkey, you made a cotton candy.
No one wants that, Ray. No one wants that.
I don't like always coming up with the same answer as Gina because I know we don't agree on most anything at any given time. In fact, very famously on the podcast, Knowing is Half the Podcast, we agree on nothing. So this is strange a couple times in a row. I don't know what's happening, quite honestly.
But it makes sense that we both went to the one cartoon that we saw on this list.
Yeah, to be fair.
Very much so. Just in case the listeners are out there, and check out Knowing is Half the Podcast. A lot of times they talk about old cartoons. That's what they're talking about. That's the reference in case you're like, duh, what? That's what the duh want. So, Jonathan, now that you've heard both of these two agree to disagree to agree, what do you have? What did you come up with?
This is kind of crazy, but
yeah. We're the best. Nobody beats us.
I think it was the cotton candy that got me. Maybe I'm hungry, but I was just kind of like, that seemed the most appetizing of the thing. Kind of like, oh, a statue made out of cotton candy. They spent a fortune on it. It has to be huge and dense. so much cotton candy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to bring it up just because you guys had said kids, but I feel like it'd be failed opportunity now to bring up that, it is edible, so that if anyone did take a bite, they'd be eating ass at the party. But time, yes.
Wow.
May I ask what eosin means, though? I was curious because
that's a very good question. And I knew Stan was going to come through.
Wow.
I knew Stan was going to come through for me.
Red fluorescent dye.
Learn to pronounce noun, red fluorescent dye that is a bromine derivative of fluorescein.
Oh, obviously.
Or one of its salts or other derivatives.
Wow. So it's a dye. It's a worm made of dye, which cotton candy.
Okay.
Sorry.
But I mean, let me tell you, this was the first time that I have seen a consensus come together within the first round. This, to me, is own every word history that is being made. And with that, we have a consensus. But honestly, Sam Proof, I just want to check in with you. Can we see what the word herd is saying about this?
Yeah.
I'm changing my answer.
Right?
All right. Let's see. Starting off, Sam Kimbrell says, please don't sue us, Shrek. J.K. Palm says, I like when the panelists all get along, which is weird if you've ever listened to the podcast or just met Ray and Gina in person. It's just daggers all the time. Moon Raven says, this is getting redonkulous. And someone who is totally not me, really, it isn't, running on every word, says, this feels like a quiz show style scandal. I'm reading it. Stop pointing the gun at me. God. All right, back to you for, I guess, no consent. I mean, you've got it already.
The consensus has happened. I just wanted to see, because this was crazy. This was crazy. So,
Gina could still use her favorite, right?
Johnston. Congratulations to Yo-Yo Johnston. You are our 2 for round 4 winner with the donkey cotton candy. Look for that NFT prize coming your way. And panelists, word heard, everybody. Wow. We are on to our final round.
Ooh.
Oh, phew. I was like, what if that was the end? I was like, does Gina just have the favor? Like forever outside?
No, she's not
She never said that it had. She never said that it would specifically refer to this game.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm gonna. You owe her a favor.
Is that what you thought? I'm planning on having you kill someone for me.
I mean, come on.
Yes. 6 years from now, you're going to get a knock at the door at 2 a.m. and a blood-soaked Gina Ippolito is going to say, come out to the truck. We got to hide a body.
Yeah, and you're going to do all the lifting.
Slow burn. Slow burn. Yeah. So for our final round, this one is for the gold and special edition cards only. Your chances of winning are greatly increased for those who have these. And here we go. Round 5. Let's bring it home. The caterer called in sick, so the guests had to eat blank instead. This is just teeing up for it. Let's see what the word heard submitted. The caterer called in sick, so the guests had to eat dishwater instead.
Oh boy.
The guests had to eat punch bowl instead. The guests had to eat Puma instead. The guests had to eat machines instead. The guests had to eat cereal instead. The guests had to eat ethanol instead. The guests had to eat Big Boy instead. The guests had to eat morality instead. The guests had to eat Wild Pig instead. Or the guests had to eat party favors instead. Okay, so we got some solid right across the plank ones. We've got really a lot of these fall into the cruelty camp. So big up to hashtag cruelty, team cruelty in the house tonight. All right, all right. But it looks like, I can see it right now. Inspiration struck all of you early, and it looks like my panelists are ready to go. So let's end the way we began and start with Mr. Ray Stakenas. What jumped out at you?
Now, I'm a big fan of eating. I am a big fan of chain restaurants. And so anytime I see a slander over one of my favorites, Big Boy, I do have to choose it. Now, I'm not saying I necessarily agree. I just find it hilarious as far as this would be like something from like the Wendy's account on Twitter where they would just, they'd be dunking on another franchise. And so we had to eat Big Boy instead. Ooh, yuck. But trust me, Big Boy is, of course, very delicious.
I agree with you very much. That is kind of like, oh no, they had to eat Big Boy. No, you get to eat Big Boy.
Thank you.
Big Boy is a privilege. It is Big Boy is for winners. You don't get to go to Big Boy after you lose the game. I'll tell you that. But Jonathan, on to you. What's jumped out at you from this?
Machines did. Maybe because I was thinking of the inhumanely farmed appetizer served by the robots. And
you're getting your revenge.
Yeah, I was kind of like, now you got to eat the robots. And
I like it.
Jonathan's telling a full story with his set of decisions tonight. I love it.
It started and then it came back home. Yes, closure, which is what we're talking about in the final round. With that, television's own Gina. What do you got there?
I'm disgusted with myself. I'm disgusted with this world. I'm disgusted with this life.
We can't.
Because once again, I agreed with Ray.
There it is.
But I will say that for some reason, it didn't click in my mind that we were talking about Big Boy, the restaurant. And I was imagining that there was just one party guest that everyone hated. And like when the caterer called in sick, they were like, looks like we're going to have to eat Big Boy. So that's why I voted for it.
You know what? Listen. Much like a cartoon or possibly animated movie, at the end, the two characters who were in opposition realized that really they saw eye to eye after all. I'm just saying everything comes around full circles here. So we got Big Boy, you got 2 for Big Boy, we got 1 for Machines. Let's see if anybody was swayed one way or another. Write down your final answer. And Sam Proof, let's check in with that word hurdle one final time to see what they have to say.
All right. J.K. Palm says dishwater because it's filled with small bits of food. Gross.
Okay.
But legit. Sam Kimbrell just yells Puma. And then qualifies that with nice. A loaded lion card was submitted from our most recent drop, I believe. J.K. Palm says Ray is right.
Oh,
he knows.
Hashtag Ray is right by default because Gina agreed with him. And then J.K. follows it up with a Big Boy is a good burger, but don't sleep on the brawny lad. I think that's just good, solid advice in general.
I'll do what I want, J.K. Palms.
Moonraven says Revenge of the Machines, which I think that's the new episode title for this. And Callie Mullally wrapping it up with robots would serve machines. That tracks. There you go.
That's a good point.
All right. Back to you. Let's see if we can track this to a consensus, right? What?
Kaboom. I am riding the train on that track, Sam. All right. I got your assist coming in for the win. So we have heard compelling arguments. We have heard from the word heard. You have listened to your own hearts. Let's see where you landed with this final round question. Ray, what about you? Where did you stick to it? Did you change?
It's a wild thing because, when I find myself, or truly when I find TV's Gina Ippolito agreeing with me, it's not that I'm agreeing with her. She's agreeing with me, obviously. It's quite honestly so infrequent, and I've said it before, but it's much like you want to cut it open like a tauntaun and you want to live in that moment forever. So I'm going to stick with Big Boy. And you know what? Gina, if this wants to be about large men who are very young, by all means, I'm fine with that. But to me, Big Boy will always refer to our favorite checkered mascot with the burger.
Okay. All right. Jonathan, where did you land on this?
I switched. I don't know if this counts as fulfilling a favor.
I didn't ask for it, so no.
But also just like, I'm just thinking Big Boy, Gina called it out. I enjoy pain. Poor big boy. This poor big boy.
Yeah, and respect to you on really trying to lay that marker down. Like, right? Yeah, favor done, right?
Done. I'm out.
It's
I'm
going to be
out.
showing up to Gina with like edible arrangements, and you're just like, right, favor. And Gina, you are the sorceress. You are the czar of television. You do now own these men's fate in your
I love
hand.
it. You know what? Jonathan's logic was sound, and I love a callback. I love that he tied that plot thread up together, that this whole show has been a dinner party waited on by robots that are serving machines.
Mm-hmm.
But I stuck with it. I stuck with it.
Oh,
It was real touch and go there, though. I almost switched to machines because Jonathan made a compelling argument.
And you had me on the edge because I was like, what is this about to be an upset? Whoo! And I know, and let me tell you right now, because when I hear Big Boy, it makes me think of Outkast, and this is like not what Big Boy would want to hear Andre 3000 say. Is that I think we got to eat Big Boy instead. So as long as Three Stacks not saying that, we can make a good or wedding or whatever catered event they would have. And our winner is Stranger Things.
Whoa!
I loved your season 4.
I know you were on the edge of your seat thinking it was about to be taken away from you. Congrats on your season 4. Congrats on your special NFT prize that you have won. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the show.
So fast.
That is the game. Went by in the blink of an eye. That's what happens when you're having fun. Thank you so much for watching Own Every Word, the game show. But before we go, Ray Stakenas, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Almighty Ray. You know, new drops are coming in all the time. Hashtag share your rays. I want to see the cards that I put so much of my effort, time, blood, sweat, tears, and vocal talents towards, and I want to see them enjoyed by the people. And so feel free to tag me any single time you get a Ray card of your own. And hashtag share your rays at Almighty Ray on Twitter. I want to see it. I want to retweet it. I want to look at these cards, dive in and think to myself, hey, I kind of remember that. And that's the greatest moment I can have during the day.
Absolutely. Jonathan, where can the people find you?
You can find me on social media at J Elijah Cho, no spaces, or as you can call me Jelija too, if that helps you remember it.
I love it. Now I have to call you that. Thank you, Jelija. And Gina Ippolito, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Gina Ippy. If you want to ever tweet an insult at Ray and tag me in it, that would be great. I like to see all of them. So yeah, if you want to just, you're feeling Monday morning, you're like, you know what, today's a good day to make fun of Ray. Yeah, tag me when you at him.
I mean, really, wiser words have never been said. Thank you all so much for being here, for making this show as entertaining as it was. Word heard, thank you all for watching. I've been Matt Harris. You can join us again next Wednesday, June 8th, and every Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Now, Sam Proof is going to take us out to raid a channel. Good night.
You're muted.
Wait, Sam, you're muted.
Of course, I hit the other button. We're going to try something new. We're going to try and raid a fellow crypto-based channel. This is Dachshund Wizard. They're the only one I could find that had a face on there. They are follower only, so give them a follow and a really friendly word heard raid. And here we go. Hopefully that works. Yeah, in 10 seconds. All right, and in the meantime, let's wrap this up.
Thank you for your words.